Generic greetings and welcome to Stellaris, where just like the universe, the game keeps on expanding, although I believe technically at some point the universe will reach a maximum expansion and then start a slow yet progressive shrinkage up until at one point heat death will occur, which is suboptimal to say the least, but also luckily beyond the scope of this video because we're mainly concerned with the 2.2 Le Guin update, which is free for all Stellaris players, as well as the paid for DLC MegaCorp, both of which I've played for about 14 hours now, although I still do class this as a first impressions because I've played the new MegaCorp stuff. I've went over a lot of the changes and additions of the game, and there has been major overhauls in core systems of the game, but there's also been a lot of tweaks and changes to ethics and civics and different governments and stuff, and also just new stuff that I definitely won't have seen. So this still classes as first impressions only. First impressions are good. I'm enjoying what they've done with the changes, but also especially the MegaCorp stuff. That's really, really fun. But what I want to do in this video is really go over the free 2.2 Le Guin stuff first, and then try and touch on the MegaCorp stuff after that, although there will be some bleed through because they are connected, and I really need to give some context there as well. If you're not aware what Stellaris is, essentially it's a 4X space strategy game by Paradox, and I've played it many times before and done many videos on it before. I've got nearly 500 hours on this thing, and certainly my most played 4X game of all time, and probably one of my most enjoyed as well. However, I'm not going to be going through like exactly how to play it and things like that. That's beyond the scope of this video, really. I've done videos like that in the past. This is mainly for maybe old Stellaris players or people who've enjoyed it in the past and just want to know pretty much what the new 2.2 MegaCorp stuff is like. As I said, overall first impressions are that I'm enjoying it, but I can't really speak on balance or a final end game or the sort of longevity of or anything like that. So let's just go through it as best we can. So 2.2, it has a lot of changes. It adds new resources, it overhauls some of the UI stuff, it alters I think pretty much everything in the game, but the main things it touches on and changes are planets and populations. So planets are pretty much completely different to what they were previously. If we look at the main world for my empire, which is the Diri sect, we can see that it is completely different to what we had previously. Previously, we had like a bit of ruler stuff, and we had a big picture, and then we went over to the main tab, where we could see the grid system, where we had that tile system, and that's gone. That's no longer in the game. It sort of is, actually. It's now just districts and buildings. Basically, what they're trying to do is make it a bit more fluid, a bit more realistic, and simulate a lot more things to make it less binary. So either you have a job or you don't, or you are maximum population or you aren't, and that sort of thing. Whereas now you have different grades and ratings and percentages which can give you a better simulation, hopefully a better experience. So let's just go through them. So what hasn't changed? Well, you still have a governor, which governs the world as well as the sector that the world is in, but sectors have also changed, so we'll get into that later. We also have a capital, which this world is, and you can see that gives us certain bonuses to stability and ethics attraction. And we also have a type of world, so in this case it is a desert world, which is 100% habitability because that's what we started with. And it also has a planet size, which is 17. So previously that size would determine the tiles that you'd see on the world. Now that has been replaced with districts. Districts pretty much operate the same as those buildings did on the old tile system. So we have 4 different districts. We have city, generator, mining, and agriculture. Each one of these requires an upkeep, so in this case 2 energy, but it also provides some housing and some jobs. So a city district will provide 5 housing and 2 jobs for clerks, and clerks produce trade value and amenities, again 2 new resources. If we go over to mining, it should be hopefully a bit more relatable. We've got 2 housing, so they don't provide as much housing as the city districts, but it does provide 2 miner jobs, and miners produce minerals. Same thing for farming. Farming jobs, well, it's farmers and they give you food, and generators give you technicians which produce energy. So you still have, in effect, you still have the same old buildings that you had previously. If you want to compare it to previously, so you have your mines, you have your generators or your power plants rather, and you have your farms. So you still have those in the game, really. They're just now called districts, which also give you sort of housing. And you can have a maximum number of districts equal to this number, which is 17. And it also shows you when we mouse over this bit here, you can see there, districts, it shows 17 from planets, you know, and then tells you what the breakdown is. What determines the maximum size of these? Well, that's the planet type. And again, it is very relatable to what we've had previously, where you used to have tiles, and those tiles would give you some sort of output. So it would be, well, it could produce nothing, but it could also produce minerals, it could produce energy, it could produce food, it could also produce science as well. So we still have that. So we have things like this prosperous mesa, which gives us 2 max mining districts. We have a rich mountain, same again, plus 3 mining districts. Great River, plus 2 agriculture. So the layout is still sort of there, and we've got some nice pictures. I should point out, by the way, that I'm recording this 3 days before release, so I'm running the beta build, and there is a couple of tweaks and changes I think that's going to be made by the time it gets to you, and there's a couple of bugs that I'm assuming is going to get squished before it gets to you, but by the time you see this video, it will be out for public release. Anyway, so yeah, we've got all these mountains and things like that, but yeah, that's still in the game. You also have the blockers as well. I've cleared all the blockers, so they're not shown there, but there are still blockers in the game as well. Today's beverage is a nice cup of tea. So, we now have some more resources at the bottom, or rather some more numbers to go through. Districts we've touched on. Population, its current population is 60, so that's a lot more than what it was previously. Maximum population for any previous planet or space habitat would be 25, which would normally be a Gaia world. Speaking of that, I do have one. There it is there. It's also classed as a holy world, which these fellas, the Stagnant Ascendancy Holy Guardians, yeah, they're still looking out for that. I did try to settle there, and they promptly asked me in a very persuasive manner to move along, which I did. We have a total number of jobs now, which you can see is split into ruler, specialist, and workers. So you now have in effect a class system, or rather different tiers of job or different stratas, whichever you prefer. So you've got rulers, specialists, and workers, which we'll touch on in a moment in the population tab. We have amenities, which is, well, you need positive of that. If you have negative, it slowly decreases happiness and things like that. So it's things like, do you want a flushing toilet? Yes, well, have amenities. Do you want a fondue set from a couple you've never seen before at that wedding you went to? And yeah, that sort of thing that's just stuck in the cupboard, you never use it. You know, you want some amenities, right? So positive, good, negative, bad. And it shows your usage and your generation and such. We have housing, which is currently -1. So no longer, if you have a population on a tile with nothing, will it just go, oh, I'm really unhappy about that, and I'm going to leave, essentially, or kick off. Now, it's a more progressive thing. So I've got a little tiny bit of overpopulation, although overpopulation is a thing that will really affect the planet. But in order to change that, we need to do something. In this case, I'm currently building a city district, and I'll cancel those so I can show you how I've done that. And I was also building a generator. And finally, we have unemployment, which is 0, which is good. We have our resource production here, which if I mouse over, you'll immediately get a headache as you get a resource bomb in your face. Needless to say, after the many hours of playing this now, I actually understand that in some broad way, but I still don't look at it because that would give an aspirin a headache. Oh, bloody hell. Anyway, so back over to the buildings. So, buildings, they're still in the game. So, you used to place buildings on a tile. In this case, again, you can place buildings. Every 5 population, you can place another building. So, I can, say, build a energy grid. And energy grids are similar to districts. They'll give you jobs. So, in this case, this will give us 1 technician job. But also, as an added bonus, it increases our energy credits from technicians, which we have a total of... how many do we have? We have a total number of those equal to technicians. We have 7. There you go. 7 out of 8, actually. So we've actually got 1 job free for them to work there if they need to. Anyway, so yes, that will do that. So the old way of having your miners, and then I think it was there was a specific type of power plant that would give you a certain percentage. And same as this one here. There's a mineral purification plant. It gives you plus 15% resources from miner jobs. So all the old stuff is in there. It's still here. It's just laid out in a different way. So, I mean, it is presented differently, but it sort of does it sort of works as you have seen previously. I'm going to set the energy grid going there. I'm also going to build another city district and change that around because I want to build that first because I want to get rid of that housing. Because if you have negative housing or negative amenities, that slowly reduces happiness, and then happiness will reduce stability. You also have now stability and crime in the game. So obviously higher crime, bad, that will start increasing, reducing your stability. If that gets too low, you can have crime syndicates and problems there, and you can also have full riots and such. So again, it's less binary, it's more simulated. Now, as I said, the districts and the buildings and stuff, I think you can reasonably think of what was previously and look at this one and say, yeah, I know, pretty much you can copy that over and say, yeah, I understand that. And it's just a sort of, it's not a rehash, but it certainly feels like a bit of a rework, and, you know, they've changed the look of it, but the mechanics of it are still there. The mechanics of it are pretty much identical. What is very different is the population. So population, you have your demographics, growing, assembling, and declining, and it can decline for various reasons, natural reasons, or you can say declare population control, or stops all pop growth, or you can go other ways and have, well, yeah, things like that, which we won't be touching on in this video. But yeah, you can purge population, that will decline that. You can set which population is growing. I've currently got two population, the Diri and the Larongo, which are molluscoid population, and I don't know how I've got them because they are slaves, and I don't know how I've got them because although my empire does allow that, I haven't enslaved any of them. I think I've got a migration treaty with one of these, and they've just either been forced here or they've came here. Anyway, I can release them if I wanted to. I can alter that now with our species bit, and I can say you, and I can say, see that it's slavery there. I can change the rights on that. I can alter that, and, you know, all that sort of thing. That's been changed a bit as well, the species thing, because you can now have, depending on your what's it called, your ethics, you can have different classes as well. So certain populations are in different classes, as well as have different living standards as well. So all that's simulated as well. Not for this one because I'm not playing one of those ethics. But anyway, that is in there. So we can see we've got a little pie chart there showing us what we've got, shows us how much is spiritualist, shows us the overall percentages of the ethics spread around the different population. We've got overall pop happiness, we've got current population, we've got migration, which is really low because basically it's a nice place to live. It's total number of immigration and emigration, which is currently minus 0.1. Reduces monthly pop growth by 0.12. That's all it is at the moment, because we've got loads of free jobs, so they don't really want to go, but we do have overcrowding as well. So if I get more housing, it should probably alter that. But anyway, this is the main thing. Now this is the thing that might be a sticking point for some people. And I must confess, there's some bits that I don't necessarily get yet, and I don't know whether it's just because I haven't played enough, or whether it just hasn't clicked yet. But when your population has grown or been assembled, it will be basically put into one of these stratas and be given a job. So we can open them up all. And we can see that in the rulers tree, I don't know why I maxed those out. Rulers, we have 3 executive jobs. So if we didn't have this population here, they could be assigned to that. That's fine. Same as that, they could be in specialists. Rulers, by the way, you can see what they're producing. They're producing unity, amenities, and reducing crime. Specialists, we've got artisans, we've got enforcers, metallurgists, things like that. So the metallurgists are taking 24 minerals a turn, which is, a tick, which is every in-game month, and turning that into 8 alloys. Alloys and consumer goods are new. So consumer goods, think of that as your ground resources, things that you use on planet, and they're used for things like research complexes, which turn consumer goods into science via the magic of science. So we've got physics and society and engineering. That's still in the game, that hasn't changed, but you do need to have consumer goods, so it's more of an intermediary product. Alloys, that's all your space stuff for building spaceships and building starbases. No longer do you forge them out of raw iron, so yeah, you do need alloys for that. So that's why we've got these here. So these are the specialists, and then finally we have the workers, which yeah, there you go. They may unite at some point, but in this case, we've got clerks, we've got farmers, miners, soldiers, technicians, and they're producing different resources. But you can see they're not taking anything to do it. So we see in there, you can see it says, right, this is what it's producing there, whereas these ones are taking something to do something else. Now, previously, you could happily have, say, 10 scientists all working away, or rather 10 population all on science buildings happily working away. And then you go, well, actually I need mines, and then replace the entire thing with mines. And that would be totally fine. Previously, you could do that and move populations around on the old grid system, on the old tile system, and everybody would just be like, yep, no problem whatsoever. No, no longer. That doesn't work. Now they need to sort of retrain and move, and going from a higher tier to a lower tier takes time, and I believe can affect happiness and such. So you don't want to be doing that too often. That's the bit where I'm not too familiar with, because I haven't experienced the full growth and overpopulation of a planet yet. So that's again something I can't really comment too much on. But that's what's more simulated now. So you can't just switch from one to the other. It has to be more of a progressive growth. And again, it's more realistic, and hopefully it is a positive, because more stuff is not always more better. So we'll have to see about the long-term one. Short-term, I quite like it. It does seem to work quite well. It's more fluid. It's less micromanagement, which I'm happy with, because in the late game, when you got, say, 15 planets and you're having to micro all those, it was just annoying. And you wouldn't put it in a sector because the sector AI was suboptimal. It was not great at the best of times. Speaking of sectors, they do exist, but you can't alter them. If we go over to planets and sectors, you can see we have well, if we actually turn on sector grid, we can see we have some sectors there. So this is a sector, and this is a sector. These are generated automatically when you colonize a planet, and it will just basically use the lanes and gather a couple jumps out from that. Whatever's 2 jumps out from that, it seems to take. I don't know if that changes later on, and I don't know if there's a way to alter it, but you can transfer resources to these. You can alter the sector settings, so focus on a particular thing. But now, you can't alter as far as I can tell anyway, you cannot alter what's in that. And the reason you have to care about this is because there's no longer a max number of there's no longer a max amount of plants you can have. There's no longer a cap, where that was added, I think, in 1.7 or 1.8. Actually, it might have been 2.0. Anyway, it was added at some point during the game's stage, where you would have a maximum number of directly colonized planets. There's still the sector, the starbase capacity, and you've still got your naval capacity. That's all in there, but not colonized areas. What you now have is empire size. So you have a total empire size, which is based on the overall districts, the overall systems you control, and colonies and branch offices, which is a MegaCorp stuff. And you have an administration cap. If you have a higher empire size than your administration cap, then you get a negative, several penalties actually. As you can see in this case, we've got a huge hit on leader cost, upkeep and campaign cost. It's 118% because I'm massively over my administration cap, and we get plus 50% actually to that as well. So what you would do, you would probably go ahead and you would vassalize this sector, and that would just become a vassal. So that's why it's been changed. Again, can't really comment too much on that because I haven't played around with it too much. Later game, it might be a bit annoying, but don't really know at this stage. Seems okay. The outward appearance seems to be, it is fine, but we'll have to see. Obviously, if you're a Gestal consciousness, then that probably could cause some issues, but nah, anyway. But that's the main, I think, the main changes when it comes to things like the planets and the population and things like that. Let's just unpause it for a second and actually play some of this rather than just talking about it. I've recently just taken some stuff off my neighbour here. Gone are the old days with 2.0 and the Apocalypse, I think it was Apocalypse DLC, where you got Titans and things like that and planet crackers.
Anomaly found.
Oh,
hey, can we monetize this?
Anomaly found. Our initial scans have caught an irregular signal reminiscent of our own distress patterns. Research. Yeah, gone are the days where you would fight 1-1, win everything. You have to put claims on stuff. So I've just got these 2 here. Which I'm happy to say I think has been, I think that was altered in 2.1, but there's been a couple of changes as well for that anyway. But yeah, it was, when it came out, the idea was there, it just didn't seem to hit home, because you'd be fighting loads of wars and war exhaustion would increase at a really silly rate even though you were winning. But anyway, so we've encountered someone else, a collective consciousness hive mind, the Kantaza entity. Hello, praise be the divine. There we go. Okay, so we now have also a a tradition to pick. We're going to go for the Pursuit of Profit, which is increase our specialist output by 5%. This tree, again, has had an overhaul. Domination is no longer for vassals and tributes and things like that. It's more about subverting will and opposing your will on your population. So things like enforcers reducing crime, workplace motivators, which is output from workers and slaves increased. And I believe these names change based on your civics and government anyway. So workplace motivators might sound really bad, but remember, we're playing a xenophobic faction. So yeah. So these names do change, but the effects stay the same. And you've still got Ascension perks. There's more Ascension perks in the game than previously. So we've got Galactic Wonders. We've got the Arcology Project. That's something I've not tried yet. You get this. Basically, you get a citywide planet. You get the Arcology Project, Necumnopolis, something like that. You get this huge city-sized planet, a bit like sort of Coruscant from Star Wars, that sort of thing, which it'll be interesting to do, but I haven't yet touched on that one. I haven't done that. What else? Oh, you now have the market. That's a big change, actually. So you now have a market. There's two types of market. You've got your internal market and you've got a global market. So I can say have the minerals and I can buy and sell them. This was in previously, but it was with a trade enclave, which I think we still have somewhere. Yes, we do still have a trade league there, so we can still communicate with those and do different things. That's not right. That's something else, which is MegaCorp stuff. Hang on, where is it? Trade league, artisan. There, the trader. Yeah, the traders. There we are. So yeah, now you don't just trade at a 50% rate for energy and minerals and things like that. You now have these now provide rare resources and such. However, the market allows you to trade stuff from one. Basically, you sell and you buy and sell with your energy credits. So if you wanted some minerals, you can just buy with energy credits. If you wanted some minerals and you didn't have the energy credits, you could just sell some food for energy credits at in this case a 20% fee, and then they can just buy from the other one. Now the difference between the internal and external market, the galactic market, is the internal, you can only produce or you can only trade these resources what you have. Okay, so you can happily, if you're producing alloys and you're producing consumer goods, that's fine. You can sell some minerals and buy some consumer goods, that's fine. However, if you wanted, say, for example, exotic gases, which I do not currently own, you can see there, exotic gases, I'm on -1 production. If we just have the internal market, I don't even have this option to get that on the go. I can't buy or sell that because I don't know what it is, and I don't have the ability to do that. Once the galactic market is opened up, however, which happens when you meet a certain number of other empires that are happy to trade, so if you meet, say, slaving despots or so the marauders that want to kill you, then it will not make a market for that. But once the market is going to be formed, you can start trading basically what's in the market and what's being traded, and these prices fluctuate based on what's bought and sold. So again, it's more fluid. It's not just like, oh, there's your straight fee. There is a market fee, which in this case is 20%, but it's it's 30% as base, minus 20 because I am the market leader. Once the galactic market is getting established, you can go to your system, your home system, or any system you want, and there's some decisions here, and you can basically bid and say, I think this is where the main trade hub should be, and that can change as well. But yeah, that seems to be this market thing seems to be I think under advertised, maybe it's my perception of it, but this seems to be a big thing, because previously you would have to wait or you'd have to trade with their empires. Now you can really start trading within your own stuff, and it makes it a lot more insular. And I've spent a lot of my time in this trade. Maybe that's just because I'm not producing enough and I'm being very wasteful. That's probably what it is. But I do spend a lot of time here. In fact, what I need to do is buy some more of those minerals. That's not buy. That's the other thing. That's the opposite of buying. There, I need to buy some more exotic gases because I am using some. You can set up monthly trades as well. So you can say buy exotic gases, say 1 at the buy price of whatever. So that's all in there. So you can remove some the micromanagement stuff, and there you go. So we'll unpause that and we'll let the game crack on. So yes, I've just been having a little tussle over here and taken over this fella's this fella's, or some of this fella's systems, and this is the hegemonic imperialists. They are fanatic xenophobe and a egalitarian, so we sort of get on with it being a xenophobe stuff, although they've just closed borders. Actually, no, they haven't closed borders. The new empire has closed their borders. We got some ones over here. This empire here is the Great Khan mid-game marauder stuff. Special project, whatever. We'll touch on that later. We still have your old empires, you know, your stagnant ascendancy and that sort of thing. We have Gestal consciousnesses around. We also have this thing over here. This is one of the new stuff for MegaCorp. So MegaCorp, what does it add? Well, it adds new governments, mega corporations. It adds branch offices, and it also puts in some traders. So you can see we now have something looks like it's ripped directly from Eve. So we have this big sort of trading hub here, and we can have a little chat with that, and you can gamble. You can play slots, which is weird. You can also open a reliquary. Yes, Stellaris now has loot boxes. And you can buy caravan coins. All of this is really tongue-in-cheek and completely self-aware. It knows what it's doing, I think. But yeah, that's in there. So you can buy the in-game caravan coins currency from this faction and then use it to open boxes, which I've only opened one box in it, and it gave me 2,000 consumer goods, which was very, very very good indeed. I don't know if there's any negatives you can get from that though, or whether you can just lose. Shall we try? Should we purchase some caravan coins? We do need some more of that though. So what I'll do is I'll sell 1, 2, 3. I'll sell that one, and I'm going to buy 12,000 caravan coins, and here we go. So we want to open a reliquary, and we will buy one, and it's going to... Oh, it's empty. Okay. Bit of disappointment, Claus, at your insides as you struggle to maintain your composure in the face of the chance humiliation. That's it. Nothing. We can play the slots, and we can pull a lever, and here we go. Score. Nothing. Okay. Pull a lever. Oh, we've gained 500 caravan coins. Right, let's just not bother with that. So that's in the game. The thing about these, this faction here, and it is a faction. Actually, it's not really a faction. It controls space, but you can't engage with diplomacy. It will send out some ships. It will send out a caravan, and that will come into your space, and it might offer you something. So it might offer you some resources, it might offer you all different types of stuff. And it will randomly just come to your territory, which is fairly cool. Let me just get my fleets docked back up because, well, they currently ain't. We'll also say, actually, it'll say, please, we'll go there. And that's a science ship, which we can say research project in the system, which I believe is a bit of debris that I made earlier. Yes, it is. Okay, so, yeah, that's MegaCorp stuff, I think. So, MegaCorps. So, this is the main thing. Authority corporate. So, it is... what's it most similar to? Egalitarian? No. Not really sure. It's essentially you're one big corporation, so it's not like a machine intelligence and it's not like a hive mind, but it does have its own set of civics. So if I was say Imperial, I'd get all these civics here, but you see these civics, these share like a similar tree, whereas the corporate, as with the machine intelligence and the hive mind, have their own different ones. So we are currently criminal heritage, which is means we can't form commercial pacts, which you now can do, and you can't join federations, can build branch offices, which all corporate authorities can build, and we're currently gospel of the masses as well, so we gain trade value. And bonuses to increasing the ethics of that spiritualist. By the way, trade value is a new resource-ish, an area, a sector.
Debris analyzed. War can be a lucrative affair.
Thank you very much for that. That's very dandy. Let's just get that over there. This science ship, I want to see you. Go back to here, and you can assist research on there, which now is by default. You don't have to unlock it, which is good. There's been tweaks and changes to the what's it called? The technology now as well. Yeah, so your different research as well. Anyway, yeah, so the trade value is this thing here, this like little sort of ring thing, and that can appear in different systems, and you gather that by having some of this, some you gather it with trade hubs, and well, technically you gather it with star bases, but you can put these trade hubs on to increase the distance in which it's gathered. And now we have trade routes. So trade routes go from one place, and they always have to route back to your home. And when they get there, you just gain whatever that is in energy credits. So you gain there's a conversion. The problem is that the longer the route, the more piracy you will get. So you see there's a max number of piracy, and we also have the value. So the value for this one is 31.
Anomaly detected.
I'm just going to pause it there. So trade route, we have a 31 trade value and a max piracy of 7.75. And the thing is, if at any point this is over your defense, what will happen is in previous games you had a piracy rating that was just placed somewhere on your empire. Actually, I think it was where cohesion is now, and cohesion, by the way, is a rating of how close your empire is. If you have like a bit here and a bit here, it'll reduce your cohesion. Yeah, so previously you would just have a certain number set piracy rating, and eventually it would just spawn a pirate there. And it was really annoying because you could have one sector out the way that you couldn't get to, and then it would spawn something there, and it was just infuriating at times. Whereas now you will know where they're going to spawn because these piracy ratings will be red, and then they will spawn along there. And it also means now you can set up patrol routes for your ships. So you can say patrol, and they'll patrol between the different ones and suppress that. Or in this case, if I go to this one, you can see we've got star bases closer there. So we have certain star bases like this one here, which has some missile batteries which not only protect it in the system, but also give us a trade protection rating. And like I say, all that trade stuff comes back to your home planet, and then you just gain a conversion rate and gain some energy credits, which can we see from here? Produced by stations. Is it there? Yeah, 156? Is that right? There will be a breakdown, a proper breakdown somewhere. It might be here. Hang on. No. Anyway, you get the idea. The trade routes, and you know you have to protect them. So I was still haven't touched on MegaCorp. So I'm a MegaCorp, and it plays just like really any other empire, apart from like say the cap. You do have a bigger penalty. The main focus is on branch offices. So if you're playing a MegaCorp and you are playing not this one, but you're playing a standard MegaCorp, so you are a corporation, you are technically supposed to be within the law. If you have a commercial pact with someone, so if I go down and say, there you go, say commercial pact. If you have a commercial pact with someone, what you can do is open, on any one of their worlds, a corporate branch office. And a branch office is, it gives you mutual bonuses. It's a symbiotic relationship. So you place it down and you will gain some energy credits just for having that there. As the population of the planet increases, you then have options for different buildings. And these buildings generally give bonuses to both people. So for example, if I could have wildcat mining operations, which in this case will increase the trade value, but also increase crime. Now that's because I'm playing the evil illicit corporation one, but the standard one will give you, like that one there for example, illicit research labs. It gives jobs, so it produces resources and gives jobs to the planet that it's on. But I also get bonuses as well. Now if you are playing the standard MegaCorp, you find that basically it's mutually exclusive, everything's good. However, I'm not. We're not. We are playing the criminal heritage. So we don't have to have a commercial pact on a planet, and we can build a branch office. As soon as we do that though, they get the option to actually fight us, because it's basically a underground den and it's all kinds of bad and illegal. And I'm using them, in this case, I've placed a smuggler's port there, which gives merchant jobs, so they now have more merchant jobs, so that's helping them out. It also increases crime by 50, so that's bad. As you can see from the right, I have a lot of branch offices all the way across the galaxy, and some of them are increasing crime. In fact, at one point, one of these worlds might still be affected by it, although it was a while ago. There was a point where crime was at 100%. Yeah, none of these, I think they've passed that now. But crime was at 100%. And we had a crime effect that would go here, and it was just all kinds of bad. Even the governor was corrupt and stuff. It was great. Because I'm just sitting here, and I'm not getting much resources from that. I'm not getting much of a positive effect. But you're subduing the empires just by doing that, and like you're stifling the progress because they have to then rebuild different things. They have to build, like, look, this precinct houses. This is one of the first worlds I affected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've only got 4, 8, 9 buildings. So over half of their buildings, which are obviously specialized and very powerful, they've used it to get defensive armies and reduce crime because they needed the enforcers, because there was so much crime on the world, they needed to do this. Just doing that alone is extremely powerful because it means now they're not producing all of these resources. They're not getting research complexes, they're not ally foundries, all of that sort of thing. And that's like the good thing for these ones. You know, it's good to be bad sort of fun on this one. Not when you are doing things like, you know, there's limits because there's now a slave market in the game, which you can deal in, and you can sell slaves. So I can say, right, there's 6 of these population, and you can start selling them. Yeah, there's that's been added as well. Anyway, but that's MegaCorps really for you, and yeah, you will be able to have these branch offices, and in this case, like I said, they're more of a negative thing for people. But you can also, you know, there's also the sort of mutually beneficial ones as well. I'm just going to open one, and shall I open one? Oh no, and close the branch offices. You have to close the branch offices, by the way, before you attack someone, because the advantage with the branch offices is that you can see everything on their planet. You can see the population, you can see their armies. That's the advantages of having a branch office as well. However, you can't attack them, so you have to close the branch offices. Also, as I said, because I am I keep forgetting the name, criminal heritage, when I put a branch office on someone, they don't like that, and they get immediately the option, they cast a spell eye to attack me, essentially. What's this? This is a hive mind. So hive minds just have consciousness in general. You cannot place branch offices there. These fellas, have I got one on them? I don't think I do. No, I don't. So, for example, this is their main world here. Oh, no, I do. I do have a branch office there. My mistake. Yeah. Hang on. No. I do not have a branch office. That is a branch office from someone else, which we have not yet met. Interesting. So there's another MegaCorp somewhere. Alright, okay. But I think that's the legal one. Let's have another look at that again. So yeah, so I can't see their planet, but I can see corporate stuff. So I can see they've got a virtual entertainment studio, which is collect jobs +2, and also increases their... Oh, and produces 6 consumer goods. So yeah, that's the positive one. But that's from someone that we haven't met yet. Interesting to see what they see the name, but we wouldn't otherwise have known that anywhere else. Okay. Okay. Not that it matters too much, but that's in the game now. Alright, establish branch office. I need a lot more resources. So let's just increase the speed of this a little bit. We will get enough resources in a bit. I'll knock it up to fastest, which can brick the game, actually. I also need a lot more energy. Ah, and there's that merchant union I mentioned. So, peaceful traders. Yeah, fanatic pacifist, egalitarian. Praise be divine. I will sell some of this, and... Ooh, what's that? Carnivorous Mercantile Union can now use hostile takeover Casus Belli against us. Huh. So they can just fight us because we are another... It might be because we're an opposing... It might be because we're another MegaCorp. It might be that. It might be that. It also might be because we're a criminal syndicate. But anyway, not worried too much about that one. Right, so I want to sell these resources. So sell, and go over to here. I want to establish a branch office because I want to see what it does. We need a bit more influence. Oh, they're closing off their...
Planetary exploitation forecast.
They're closing off. Why is that? Bombardment policy, slavery policy. Yeah, fair enough. I can totally understand all that. And they're not going to want to form any of this. No, they're really not. Okay. So, we will go here and we'll say establish branch office. So yes, so establish a branch office, cost some resources, boom, and straight away there you go. Look, they now get the they get the caster spell against us because basically we're forming a criminal underground network on their planet, and they don't like that. So I would highly recommend you don't establish a criminal network on a empire that is over equivalent, like superior, because that probably wouldn't go quite well for you. But anyway, that's now settled, and we can, you know, get some. We're going to get some resources off that. Not many, as I said, but this is going to increase crime. It's going to start stifling them, and obviously there's buildings as well. But anyway, that is a fairly brief overview and hopefully concise. I think I've touched on all the things that I wanted to of the free 2.2 Lagoon update, which is, as I said, available for our Stellaris users, and the paid for MegaCorp DLC. First impressions are that I'm really enjoying it. I was very hesitant about the changes to the old tile system. I was nostalgic for it. I thought it worked. It was very readable, very visual, and different. And I honestly would not like if they just put in. If they just went, right, here's now just a big list, like here's a spreadsheet in front of you. I thought the game would feel a bit less, because Stellaris has always been about the majesty of space and all the events and good stories and things like that, more than I think their other 4Xs. And I think it would lose some of that if it just went, if it basically went like that and just showed you that, and you just had a couple of pluses and minuses next to it. I wouldn't have got away with it. I can get away with this. It seems to work, and I do like the population stuff in here. As I said, though, still a couple of things I'm not sure on, but I don't think there's going to be anything that really doesn't sell me on it. What does it work complete late game and in multiple games with different ethics, civics? Well, that's something that we're all going to have to find out, because that's a multiple playthrough problem. But either way, that's been a little bit touch on, like I say, 2.2 and MegaCorp stuff. I like the MegaCorp. I think they're really interesting, really fun to play. The ones I'm playing now, more so than the others, I think. But it all depends on what ethics you got as well. So if you want to play, you know, a MegaCorp that deals in just slaves, or, you know, that sort of thing, then you can do all that. There's more here. There's just more here. And, and there's also some more Leviathan stuff as well, which I saw, which I'm not going to spoil. Either way, hope you have enjoyed the video, and hope it's been something for you. Links in the description as always, so you can check the game out yourself. Thanks very much for watching. Take care, and generic partings.